Friends, as we reflect and think a little deeper on these very powerful readings this morning, the book of Sirach, if you choose to keep the commandments, you will be saved. If you trust in God, you shall live. In Paul's letter, oh, the wisdom of the world, but I speak of God's wisdom, mysterious and hidden. As I reflected on these readings, I thought of the great Pope Benedict. He was a powerful thinker, and he wrote one time that always stuck with me as I think of these readings. He wrote this, quote, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." The world offers us comfort, but God says we are made for greatness. So the question before each one of us sitting here this morning, for you, what defines greatness? What defines that higher calling? What defines for you something that is non-negotiable? What defines for you that noble life? Not comfort, because that passes, but something deeper in our soul and in our heart. Paul says that the world offers this, but God's wisdom is deeper. So the world may say greatness, not that any of these things are wrong, but the world may say greatness is power and prestige, the acquiring of a lot of money or being an influencer, clicks and likes, all the things that are the vernacular of today. Again, these are not bad things in and of themselves. But you know and I, as we sit here today, those just don't satisfy the soul. They're temporary. They come and they go. My dear friends, God, He is saying to us, if you sitting here today, without any force, from your soul and your heart, you say yes to God. You choose. You choose to follow this mysterious, powerful truth that you know is speaking to your heart. Sirach said, God says, if we do this, you will be saved. If you trust, you can live. Powerful words. As I put these together, there was a little acronym that I heard years ago, but I think fits in. The acronym maybe we can all use on a daily basis when we are faced with life's challenges and those moments in life, choose or not choose, fire and water, good and evil. Think of the acronym BTS. BTS stands for believe, trust, surrender. Believe in God. Believe in your greatness. Believe in your higher calling. Trust, especially in moments where you doubt. Maybe moments where that temptation is overwhelming, lust or whatever it may be, or as Jesus says in the gospel, angry and resentful. Trust in God. And the whole readings really speak about the S, being able to surrender. The world will say, if you surrender to all these things, you're weak. You're not strong enough. But Jesus says in our gospel, that's where we encounter the cross of Christ. And that's the message that God is speaking to us. Friends, believe. Trust that God is with you. And surrender sometimes to the temporary temptations of the world. My dear friends, the mystery is before us. The mystery of God is before us. And God is saying to us, and Jesus, as he continues these amazing Sermon on the Mount. It's powerful. Remember a couple weeks ago, the sermon where Jesus says, blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. I think that first step is so powerful because all these things I think are tied into it. When our heart is clean, when our heart is not pursuing all these things that are temporary, we all struggle with whatever. And God is saying to us, Jesus in the gospel, as he continues the Beatitudes, it was powerful because he says, the world says this, the externals, do this, do that. But the takeaway, I think, for today, Jesus says, but I say to you, go inward. Go to this interior part of your soul and in your heart. And if you do, and you let go of all those things that you're holding on to, all the things of the past that are just occupying your mind. A beautiful, beautiful example. Maybe you've heard this story before. It's a true story of the great saint, Mother Teresa. And I think it summarizes exactly what Jesus is saying today. And the story is this. When she was visiting her sisters and daughters of charity in New York, the beautiful thing about Mother Teresa, she always did what she asked her sisters to do. She always did. So she was there in New York visiting the sisters, and so she asked them to go and beg for the poor. So she took a bucket with two of her sisters, went down into the subway. The three of them stood there in their nun outfit, their habits, not saying a word. A man on an escalator with a power suit comes down, and he sees Mother Teresa and the sisters, and he's filled with rage. And in his suit and his power, a self-described agnostic atheist literally hates the church. And he walks over, true story, to Mother Teresa. He looks at her in the eye, and he spits in her face. Literally spits in her face. And Mother Teresa, she simply wipes the spit off her face. She looks at the power suit broker man and says, the spit was for me. Now what are you going to give to the poor? The spit was for me. What are you going to give to the poor? And with that, the man fell to his knees in tears. Fell to the knees because all of the anger and the walls of resentment and all the things that he surrounded his heart, his anger to God, his resentment, and all this fallen away Catholic, by the way, all of that came tumbling down because he saw the face of Christ in Mother Teresa. And when Mother Teresa, like Jesus, removed the spit from her face, looked into his soul, and said, you are loved. You are an instrument of God. Now what are you going to give to the poor? My friends, believe, trust, surrender. And when we do, maybe we will see this hidden mystery of God. So as you sit here this morning, define for yourselves as we approach the next 40 days of Lent, what defines a higher calling for you? Surrender whatever it is in our personal lives that we need to let go of. Wipe the spit from the spit of the world, or whatever that symbolizes for you. Trust in Jesus, and you too will be saved. Amen?